Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Caroline Langford. I'm the maker and designer behind all things The Happy Home Collective. And today I have a new crochet tutorial to share with you. It's for this very simple chevron blanket. Part of my story is that I learned to crochet as a child and I didn't learn how to read patterns for about 15 years. I didn't have a lot of other people in my life who crocheted, so I really just learned a few things, made the same things over and over, experimented, figured things out on my own, and a few times along the way, people came along and would show me something really specific. One of those things was this chevron pattern. When I was a teenager, I was on a summer vacation with my family, visiting other family, and one of my aunts, my Aunt Candy, sat with me on a screened-in porch in Tennessee and showed me how to make this simple chevron pattern. Since then, I have used it to make 3 large blankets. I'm working on a 4th now, and I just think it's a really great go-to pattern. It's really simple, it's beginner friendly, and there's a lot of fun things you can do with it. In this tutorial, I will show you how to make the basic chevron pattern and how to determine how long of a chain you need to start with depending on the size blanket that you want to make. For this blanket, I used a 12mm hook, and this is Lion Brand Pound of Love. It's an acrylic medium weight yarn, and I used 2 strands together. For the main stitch, I used half double crochet, and so it made for a looser stitched blanket than the next one I'm going to show you. This is the first blanket I ever made using this pattern. I made this blanket about 15 years ago. This is Red Heart Super Saver yarn, which is another acrylic, I believe, medium weight yarn, and I also used 2 strands together, and for this one I used a 10mm hook. For the main stitch, I used single crochet, so you can see that it is a much tighter stitched blanket. For this blanket, I added a single crochet border on both sides of it, not on the ends of it, because I was really focusing on this striped pattern in all of these different colors. And for this blanket, I used the red yarn to make a half double crochet border all the way around the whole blanket. So you can experiment with border colors, borders, or no borders, whatever you want to do. I love this pattern because I think it's really beginner friendly. If you only know how to chain and single crochet, you can make a blanket like this. You don't need to know how to read patterns. I'm going to just show you how to do it, and it's something you can just add to your crochet tool belt. You could make this with a wide variety of yarn sizes and hook sizes. You could make a baby blanket. You could make a really large blanket. You could make it all one color or a lot of different colors. You can do whatever you want. I think that this is a great go-to style for a gift blanket. It's pretty simple. It doesn't take a long time once you get going, especially if you're using a larger hook. You can customize the colors for the recipient, and it's just a great project that doesn't need a lot of thinking once you get started and know what you're doing. Another thing I love about it is that there isn't a lot of counting besides the same sequence that you make over and over again. And if you make a mistake, you're going to catch it really quickly, like in the next row, rather than 20 rows deep, and then you need to decide what you're going to do about it. So it's a great pattern for making to practice your stitches, practice your tension, and just a project that you can pick up and work on and put down whenever you want. I think I've said everything I want to say, so let's get into the tutorial. For the example, I am using Pound of Love by Lion Brand. This is an acrylic yarn. It is medium size 4. I'm using 2 strands together, so the outer and inner strand, and a 10mm hook. I have used the same yarn with the 2 strands together and a 12mm hook, so for this blanket I'm just going for tighter stitches. You can do whatever you want. You could use a totally different yarn and totally different hook. To start, I'll make a slip knot. So I'm just going to wrap it around my fingers and then pull this loop through to make a slip knot. And then I will make my chain. The math for knowing the number of chain you need is how many of these points you want in your blanket. So this would be the bottom edge where we're starting. Imagine this is a chain. So this is 1 point. This is 2 points. If you are using bigger yarn, bigger hook, you might have less. Maybe you'll have 8 or 10 across your blanket, depending on the size, maybe more than that. If you're using a smaller yarn and smaller hook, you might have many more of those. The math for how many chain stitches you need to start is 15 times the number of these on your blanket minus 1. So for my example, I'm just going to make 2. That won't be enough for a blanket, obviously, but it's enough to demonstrate the math for the chevron blanket. So for my chain, I'll need 15 times 2, which is 30, minus 1, which is 29. If I were making 3 of these, I would do 15 times 3, which is 45, minus 1, which is 44, and so on. So it's 15 times the number of these points minus 1. I'll now make my 29 chain stitches. To make a chain, whether you hold your yarn like me or you hold your yarn over here, it's yarn over, pull through. That's a chain. If you have a different way of doing it that you prefer, just do it your way. All you need is chain stitches. So I'll be making 29. There's 5. $25. And 29. So I have my 29 to start. It'll look like this once I start stitching. Turning back the other way, for my blanket, I'm going to use single crochet. You could also use half double crochet. I've done both before. I'm going to skip this first chain next to my hook and put my first stitch in the next chain. Quick review of single crochet, whether you hold your yarn over here or over here. You insert your hook into the stitch. So again, we're skipping this first one, putting it right there into the stitch. Yarn over, pull through. You'll have 2 loops on your hook. Yarn over, pull through all of the loops. That is a single crochet stitch. So single crochet, like that. Now, again, it's going to look like this. The math is that we do 6 stitches on the side, 1 in each chain or 1 in each stitch. Then at the top, we do 3 stitches in 1 stitch. Then we do 6 back down. And then at this part right here, we skip 2, 6 back up, 3 at the top, 6 back down. So I just did my 1. I'll do 5 more. 1 stitch per chain. So there's 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now I'm at that top point, and I'll put 3 single crochet in the same chain. 1, 2, 3. So I have 3 single crochet in the same chain. Now moving back down this way, I'm back to 6 stitches, 1 in each chain. So I'll put the next stitch right in the next chain, 1 single crochet, 1 in the next, until I have 6 again. All right, so I have my 3 single crochet, and then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. at the base down here, I'm now going to skip 2. So I'm going to skip these 2 chains right here. I'll put my next single crochet in the next one. So the reason this math adds up is because at the top, I'm adding 2 stitches by putting 3 in the same stitch, and then down here, I'm removing 2 stitches by skipping 2. So again, we're doing 6 stitches. So I just did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Like that. I'm back at the top again, so I'll do 3 single crochet stitches in this one chain. 1, 2, 3, 3 single crochet. And then on this last side, 6 stitches. That'll put your 6th stitch in the last chain here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, the yarn's getting a little tangled. Now we have the chevron shape. So again, I obviously only made chain enough for 2 points, but the math is the same with the single crochet or half double crochet. You're going to do 15 times the number of points you want here minus 1 stitch. So I did chain 29 to start, and then 6 up, 3 at the top, 6 down, skip 2, 6 up, 3 at the top, 6 down. For my next row, turn my project. I will skip this first stitch and same numbers, 6 stitches up, 3 at the top. So I'm skipping this first stitch here, and I'll do 6 single crochet up this side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like that. At the top, we do the 3 single crochet in the same stitch. 1, 2, 3, 3 in the 1 stitch. Back down this way, 6 stitches again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so I had my 3 in 1 stitch up here, and then 6 down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. At the bottom of the point here, we skip 2. So skip 2 stitches, put your next single crochet in the 3rd one. And then we're doing 6 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm back at the top again, so that's 3 single crochet in this top stitch. 1, 2, 3. And this final side, 6 stitches down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So you will have a stitch right here that we just skip, leave it there. You want to do 6 stitches again. Ignore this one, we're not putting a stitch in that. And there we have another row. So the pattern is the same every row. So if I was turning it around right now, I would skip a stitch, 6 stitches, 3 at the top, 6 down, skip 2, 6 up, 3 at the top, 6 down, leaving the last stitch skipped. That is how you make a chevron blanket. Very simple. You can change colors and add stripes. You could make it all one color. You could do 2 strands with 2 different colors together. You can do a lot of different things. This is that Christmas blanket I showed you earlier. I used a 12mm hook for this one and half double crochet. So you can see how that looks a lot looser than this one where I used single crochet and a 10mm hook. It's the same yarn, the same Lion Brand Pound of Love, 2 strands together, but the hook and the stitch make a big difference. For this one, I did a repeating pattern of 10 rows of one color, 4 rows of the next color, 4 rows of the next color, and then 10 rows of the next color, kind of repeating that over 4, 4, 10. So you can have fun with that. And then to finish it, after I did all my rows, I did a simple half double crochet border all the way around. So that way I could weave in all of the different tails from cutting it on the side. For this blanket, I chose to make 8 points across. So that means I started with 8 times 15, which is 120 minus 1, which is 119 stitches for my initial chain. And then after creating the tutorial part of this video, I did go on to start another blanket using this blue yarn. I decided this time to make 9 points across just to make it a little bit wider. So that means I started with 135 minus 1, so 134 chain stitches for the initial chain. And again, I'm using half double crochet and a 12mm hook for that loose stitching like I did with the red and white blanket. A couple things that I forgot to mention when I first recorded this video. Number 1, I do recommend making a swatch of your blanket. This will help you determine how many points you need for your desired blanket width. So I would make 1 or 2 points just as an example with the yarn and hook that you're using to see how wide that would be, and then you can decide how many points you want to have in your blanket. The second thing is that you can play around with the stitch counts on each side. I taught in this pattern to do 6 up and 6 down, but you could change that to more or less. You could do 7, 8, 9, it doesn't matter on each side, as long as you have the 3 stitches at the top and the 2 skipped at the bottom. That will give you that zigzag shape. And then if you do change the stitch count, you'll need to adjust the beginning chain. So for example, if you decided to do 7 stitches on each side, your beginning chain would need to be 17 times the number of points minus 1 instead of 15 times the number of points minus 1, since you added 1 stitch to each side. So I hope that you enjoyed this tutorial, and if you decide to make a blanket, please drop it in the comments. Have a great day!